Hello, in this video we will demonstrate how to reassemble a Samez 01D140 diaphragm pump. We'll start with the tools needed. A needle nose pliers, 2.5, 4, 5mm Allen wrench, a small blade screwdriver, a 13 and 9mm socket with wrench and extension, an inch-pound torque wrench with 5mm Allen adapter, a foot-pound torque wrench, and Kluber grease 560-440-005. We will also use seal kit number 144-907-018 during the rebuild. We'll begin by reassembling the ball and seat portion for the inlet and outlet, beginning with the inlet. First, you'll put the O-ring number 22 on the breakdown from the manual into the cage portion using some of the white Kluber grease. Then you'll take O-ring number 21 and 22 and insert them on the inner portion and the outer portion of the seat, also using some of the white Kluber grease. Then you can lube the inside of the body housing and then press the seat all the way till it sits flush at the bottom, making sure the concave area for the ball is facing upward. Then you can put the ball, then the spring, and then insert the cage portion and press firmly. Then proceed to do the other side the exact same way. Making sure you grease the O-ring portion before pressing down. That concludes the inlet portion. Now for the outlet portion, again putting O-ring number 21 and 22 onto the seat. Again, lubing the exterior of the rings. This time you will put the spring onto the stem portion of the body, then the ball, then making sure the concave ball portion is facing the ball, press it into the body itself. Then repeating the same for the next side. Spring, then ball, then seat, making sure of the concave area facing the ball. Press firmly, make sure the balls are loose and freely moving, and that completes this portion. Now for the main valve body assembly. You'll begin with the shuttle valve seals. As shown here, the groove side will go to the inside of the shuttle piston. You will use a light film of the Kluber grease on these seals. That will help assist in installing them. Same with the end cap seals. There's 2 on each. If need be, you can use a small flat blade screwdriver to assist in installing the O-rings. But using the grease allows for easy installation of the rings. You want to make sure you put more grease on the outside of the rings and inside the caps and on the seals of the shuttle. Then inserting the shuttle into one of the caps and putting grease in the inner cylinder of the body. You can insert the one side. It is a press fit. You just want to make sure that it's aligned. Once it's aligned, it should slide in and be pressed down evenly. You want to make sure that the shuttle moves freely back and forth, and then put the seals to the outer portion of the body. Again, using the grease will help seal and allow for easier installation of these gaskets and seals. There is an inner plate seal that you want to put down in the groove, again using the grease. Once that's seated, you'll take the black plastic block valve and set that in the shuttle, and then insert the ceramic plate. And on top there is a 3-ring gasket. Once installed, you want to put a light film on the rings, again to help seal and secure. Then for the internal installation, you first want to put in the 3 exhaust O-rings. The 2 on the sides are the same. The one at the top is a little bigger, but you want to use grease on these, and then once they're in, put another light film of grease on to help seat and secure. Then you're going to get the contact spring and contact and insert that to the bottom, again using grease to lubricate. Once that's in, this is where you will use the 9mm and extension socket to help push down on that contact to allow the shaft of the diaphragm through and secure it. Once it's through, you will take the bracket with a light film of grease and you will set that down over the shaft, and you want to make sure that it snaps down into place and secures the shaft. Once that's in there, you can actually take the valve cap and set that right on top. Down inside there is a small O-ring for the pilot that also gets inserted, and you want to align that pilot hole with the pilot of the ceramic plate. The valve can only fit in one way due to its design, but you want to make sure that it's seated well. Then you take the complete assembled body for the main valve and you set that over the top. There is a groove at the front to only allow it to be installed one way. Once that's in there, you get your 2.5mm Allen wrench and tighten down all 4 screws. You want to make sure they're nice and snug. There's no torque spec for these. Using the pliers can assist with tightening them down. Next is the intermediate plate. You just want to make sure that the holes are aligned, and then you lay that plate down over the top. Then you have the end plate that has a gasket, again using the grease to help seat and seal the O-ring. You want to make sure that the holes align with the exhaust holes, and then you slide down the plate. Then with a 5mm wrench, you're going to tighten all 4 screws. And there is a torque spec with this. All screws need to be tightened to either 10 Newton meters or 88 inch-pounds. So you want to take your torque wrench and secure those to those settings. Now to assemble the final diaphragm assembly. You will lubricate the O-ring and put it over the shaft into the groove. And then you will take the plate and secure that using the 4mm Allen wrench to secure the screws. They only need to be tightened securely. There is no torque spec for these. You will have done this installation portion prior to putting the first side on and the shaft. So that was already done. So this is the second side. Now completed, you can put the diaphragm assembly onto the shaft and thread it on. Once it's on there, you want to grab both sides and securely tighten. Now to assemble the side plates. First, install the O-rings into the inlet and outlet portion of the plates. You can then coat each surface with the Kluber grease, and you can also put a little bit of grease on the face of the plates where the diaphragms may touch. You're going to take one of the plates and align it to the pump and use the bolts to securely tighten them down using the 13mm socket and wrench. Once they're all tightened, you can flip it over and you're going to insert the inlet and outlet ball and seat into the grooves. There are directional arrows showing the inlet and outlet. The inlet goes to the bottom by the base and the outlet to the top. You're going to take the second plate and put that over them. Then using 2 to 3 screws crisscross from each other, you're going to hand tighten the plate. Once they're hand tightened, you're going to check to make sure everything is aligned and that there's no misalignment or gaps. Once that's checked, you can put the rest of the bolts in. Again, using the 13mm socket and wrench to tighten them down. And once all are tightened, you're going to use the foot-bound torque wrench to tighten all the bolts, every bolt, to 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds. Each bolt will be secured to that setting. Once that's done, this concludes the assembly of the O1 D140 diaphragm pump.